Well, hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Coates Gilbert. I am broadcasting tonight from Dallas, Texas. And thank you all for joining us this evening. And we're going to go ahead and post your comments and questions, even though on this particular platform, we're unable to see those until I go over here and turn my phone on and check them. So I will be doing that, but we don't see your comments live. So, I mean, maybe Judy is seeing them. I can't see them.
Oh,
but
wait a minute. Geek.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, now I'm out of the Zoom, so let's see if I can get out.
Oh, no, you're there. You're there just fine.
I can't see myself, so hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go back in and I'll be right there.
Great. Well, we can see you.
There I am.
A 20-minute delay on or a 20-second delay on Facebook, I understand. But let me go ahead and introduce you tonight to my dear friend, author extraordinaire. She writes women's fiction with strong romantic themes. She has a very popular bunch of series that I can't wait for her to tell you about. Her name is Judy Keim. She lives in Boise, Idaho, where I used to live. And I know that some of you on here tonight are probably from Boise because I lived there and so many of you are my buddies and friends. So this is Judy. We met in Florida at a conference, a writers conference, and connected as soon as we knew we were Boiseans. She has a husband who is a doll baby. He is her administrative vice president, I think, and takes care of all her business. I'm trying to talk my husband into doing that. And right now he'd still like to run a meat company. So he won't do that for me. I'm jealous soon. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about your books, Judy. I want to introduce our readers to the fact that you have written, I'm looking here, your website said that you write stories with heart. So talk to us a little bit about that. Tell us about your writing journey and why you say your stories you write stories with heart.
Well, I like that statement. My line is that I write about strong women facing challenges and finding love and happiness along the way. And they are written with heart. They basically are a woman's journey, the challenges she does face, and of course she succeeds, but she also finds happiness, whatever that might be for her. And I'm a true believer that we all need love and support. So of course I give my characters that. I think it's 23rd. My 23rd book is up for pre-order. And it's part of a group of what I call a collection of books because they're very different standalone stories that take place at the Seashell Cottage on the Gulf Coast of Florida. In addition,
by the way, readers, you are going to want to pay attention to what she's telling you because her books are the perfect beach read. And we're all getting ready to, whether we go to the beach physically or if we're going to take an armchair vacation, Judy's books are set in these glorious places and take you away. And if you don't get to take a real vacation in a few weeks, pack up your pretend suitcase, grab her books and head out to the Salty Keys, to Florida, to Oregon, all these wonderful, wonderful places. And before I let her continue, I want to just say that this is what her readers say on Amazon. I could not put the book down, which I agree with because I've read her books. Here's another one. If you enjoy beach breezes and fragrant tropical flowers, these books are for you.
I
know. How about this one? Judy always leaves you wanting more.
Oh, I love that.
And how about this one? I look forward to the next book in every series.
Oh, that's nice. And you know, it is important, readers, that you do leave reviews, not just for my books, but Kelly's books and every author's books, because you know, we are sitting alone here in our office, typing away, and it's something we love to do. It isn't easy to do, but we really do it for you. Yeah. So if you do like the stories, leave a review.
Yeah.
It makes it all seem worthwhile.
Well,
And
I got introduced to you as a reader through your the Beach House series. Now I had to glance to remember what it was, but it was so fun because the way you did those, you did breakfast at Beach House and then lunch and then dinner. And it was the kind of stories I adore about women. These particular women were starting over and they had really strong women friendships and that carried them through and just reminded me of a Netflix series. I mean, I just adored it.
I think it's perfect. Rhonda is a very outspoken, strong woman whose family had a butcher business in New Jersey. And when she and her husband were vacationing in Florida, she won the lottery, a huge lottery. And she and her husband bought the seaside estate. And then he ran off with somebody else, and she was left with this house. And in the meantime, her daughter was going to college in Boston, and her freshman roommate became very close, and they invited Anne, the roommate's mother, and the roommate to come to Florida for Thanksgiving. Anne had just gone through a terrible divorce, very uptight, raised by a very strict grandmother in Boston. And so the two of them meet, and I'm smiling now, I'm laughing now because it's so funny, because they're so different. And I mean, Anne gets a headache. How am I going to stay for 3 or 4 days? And these two women take this in this hotel or estate
and end up being
and turn it into a
close
hotel. It's just a fun series.
And it's set in the Florida Keys, and you are so descriptive. And it just, from what they wear, the tropical wear and the flowers and the sea breezes, I just felt like I was there.
Well, you can tell I love the beach. My husband and I have traveled a lot. He's in the hotel industry, has always been for his career. And that's one reason why all except the first series involve hotels or inns, because I have a resource at hand that I couldn't pass up.
Oh, sure.
And I love the hotel industry. I was the department secretary at the undergraduate library at Cornell while he went through the hotel school. So we worked together to get him through. And so I really know quite a bit about the industry and love it. But I also love the beach. So a lot of my series are based on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And my latest series, and in fact, book 3, Home at Last, recently came out in a 3-book series that takes place in Willamette Valley in Oregon. And I wanted to do something a little different. It involves, it's a hotel, of course, but it starts back when that whole area was opening up to growing grapes for wine in the 70s. And there were just a couple of vineyards at that time. A lot of the area were made up of turkey farms. So Peter and I went and spent a few days, and Pinot Noir just happens to be my favorite wine. So
I lived in Portland, and we'd go over to Erath and all those beautiful wineries.
Oh, wonderful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, lots of fun. So that was fun to research. And again, I was able to bring in a conversion of a small inn into a wonderful upscale inn.
And those covers on that book, I mean, that whole series, they're just gorgeous.
I have a wonderful, wonderful person doing my covers, and she gets me. I mean, I can say, this is what I envision, and boy, she comes up with something I really, really love. And great. I also have
a few questions. Sure. I've got some questions here that I want to know. You almost hinted at it, but what was your very first job?
My first job was working for the American Red Cross way back in the 60s, and I was the blood program secretary.
What was your worst job ever?
My last job, working for a woman who was OCD squared and was so difficult to work for. And in fact, I was really sort of upset at how the job ended. I quit, and I was sort of at loose ends. And that's when I decided, okay, this friend had started to do books on her own, put them up independently. She gave us, our writers group in Boise, a course, and I put my first books up, which were kids' books. She said, start with something small. And that's how I got into indie publishing. So I have been published with a publisher and have sold stories to other people and other magazines. This has been a blessing for me. I'm in control. I can write what I want, and so on.
Yeah, I love it too.
Don't you feel that way too?
Yeah, I was with a traditional publisher, and while I loved them dearly, I mean, my marketing team just treated me so well, and I love my acquisition editor. It was a fabulous experience, and I was with two different publishing companies and loved it. But there was, when I found out about independent publishing, there was something about that just drew me in. I love the fact that I get to do the business, and I hire editors and I hire cover designers, and I do it myself, and it's a lot of work, but boy, do I love it. And frankly, when I was looking at doing it, I was watching you and seeing your success.
Yes, I'm been very lucky. Readers do respond to my books. I love my readers. You know, everybody says, oh, I love my readers. I truly do. I have made friends with readers, and every time they write, I write back. I don't have somebody else do it. I write back.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, I want to ask you another question. Which of your characters in all of your books, which of your characters do your readers love to hate?
Ooh, I write so many to love, not hate. Actually,
that person that just caused a lot of trouble.
Brock Goodwin in the Breakfast at the Beach House series.
Yeah, I read that.
Is somebody you would love to hate.
Yeah, good. You do a very good job of writing someone that you learn to hate, that's for sure. Because I read that book and I remember Brock. So you mentioned a little bit about your research, but tell us about your research process and how you go about that and how you and your husband take off. I know that you take off on a trip and you find a wonderful place. Tell us all about that.
Well, a lot of my stories are based in Florida. We lived there twice because we moved there. He moved back to Atlanta for his work and moved back to Florida. And so a lot of my knowledge and experience comes from those times of living there. For the wine country, we did go and travel, talk to people. We stayed at a wonderful inn. But the most wonderful thing was that it's a very close-knit community. And so the people who were working at the inn had a brother that did the customer service at this winery, and somebody else had a sister who worked at that winery. So we got to visit those places and learn more about the process of winemaking through them. What else can I tell you? Other than that, I don't know how you find it, Kelly, but I can't write more than a page without having to do some research, whether it's they go visit this building in this town, then I have to look it up. All right, what street are they traveling to? Are they going north or east or west? I mean, so all those little details are things that I research as I write, as well as the overall research.
I've set most of my books in real towns until just recently. My Pacific Bay series is a made up town, but it's really based in Newport, Oregon. So that's what's in my mind when I'm writing it. A lot of authors stray away from real towns so they don't have to state a detail. But what about you? I mean, yours are fairly made up.
Well, yes, but Breakfast at the Beach House Hotel is obviously Naples, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And the Celtic Key Inn series is up by St. Pete's Beach, that area.
Which is where you're at.
Yeah. And of course, the inn in Oregon is just made up there. I'm working on a new series based in Palm Desert, California. Oh. And we've been going there for 3 different winters and spending quite a bit of time there. But I thought, gee, I better make good use of these trips, you know. So I've started a series there that's going to be fun.
And when do those start releasing?
The first one will be out next February.
Great.
And I'm working on the second.
I also know, because we have some mutual friends, that you've been working on a project. And while you may not be ready to really tell about the project yet.
I can tell.
Oh, good. Well, then tell them about it.
Yes, we've got something very exciting going on. 4 other authors and I are putting together a series of sweet Christmas books. And it's the Soul Sisters at the Cedar Mountain Lodge. And it's a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful story. And you'll hear more about it, but stay tuned because it's really cute. And all the stories begin with Christmas. My story in the whole series is called Christmas Kisses. It's very cute.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Well, I promise you, readers, that when time gets close to the release, which is sometime later in the fall, I will have all of those authors on and let them talk about that release and their process, because they invited me to be a part of it, but my writing schedule was just too tight and I couldn't be part of it. So, but I've watched and listened as they've put that together, because we're all kind of chummy friends, and it just sounds like the whole thing was fun. They connected and chatted all the time about their characters, and I want to learn about that process and how all that works. So we're going to have them on here live when the release time comes. So be watching. I want to ask you a little bit about. I saw on your website, I went and looked, and it said that when you were a little girl, you used to play librarian.
I've loved books from the beginning. My mother was an avid reader. She read probably 2 to 3 books a week, and she worked. So, I mean, she fit that in. It was very important to her. My sister and I did play librarian. We even had little cards made up. You know, we knew enough to put the book title and the author, and then put a date. And my cousin, one of my cousins, was telling me not too long ago that she remembered. She was so good. She would come and check out some of those books. Very sweet. But
I think that's the common thing, because my sister and I used to play library too, and we'd get out all the books and we'd make those same little cards. But we lived on a ranch, and so we'd go out, and the fence posts were the librarian patrons, and so we'd talk to the fence posts like they were real people and hand them their books and stuff. So I mean, you know, imaginations galore when you're little. And so when you were a teenager, then who became some of your favorite authors when you were a teenager and started to read avidly?
Well, remember Victoria Holt?
Oh, Mistress of Melon.
Yes, and her books, gosh, Mary Stewart.
Yeah. So you liked those romantic suspense then?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I read a little bit of everything. And one of the most powerful books I read was, I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it. I want to say Cry Africa, but it was very empowering to me. And I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. So I apologize, but Patton wrote the book. Cry Beloved Country. It was about Africa. And anyway, I used to do a lot of reading on the summer porch on one of those gliders that would go back and forth. And I would spend hours reading, escaping into worlds that were not mine.
Yeah.
So I've always loved to read.
Molded me. I mean, I am, half of what I am is because of what I read when I was young. I read A Woman of Substance by Barbara Taylor Bradford.
My favorite. Oh my goodness.
Emma Hart. I was just, I was going to grow up and be a woman of substance. I mean, I just love that. And I read Mr. and Mrs. Bojo Jones, and I knew I wasn't going to get in the back seat with any boy. And I read so many really good books, but that just formed, you know, what I think and who I am. And so I'm always aware of that when I'm writing. I'm thinking about the fact that for several hours I'm inside someone's head, and that's a privilege. It's a real privilege. In fact, I remember in the 3rd grade, I read Where the Red Fern Grows, and it was about this boy and his dogs in the Ozarks, and a real tragedy happens, and I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. And then the writer, Wilson Rawls, lived in Idaho, and he lived in Idaho Falls. He came to our 3rd grade class. First time I ever met an author, a real author. And I went, oh, and it dawned on me, you could be an author. And I think even that young, I had this little dream, and I didn't know how to make it come true, but oh, you know, and don't we have the best job ever, Judy?
We do. We really do. We're in control. We're creating. It's satisfying. It's difficult. I mean, I always get to the middle and think, what in the world am I going to do with these characters?
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, Kelly, I'm a pantser. Yeah. So instead of having a very careful outline, you know, I have an idea of where they're going and where I'm taking them. And then I have to stop and think, oh my gosh, I've got them this far. I need to carry them on. But you mentioned a woman.
Those readers of you who do not know those terms, in our world, you're either a plotter or a pantser. And a plotter, of course, does a plot, makes a synopsis and has an outline of what comes next, what comes next, what comes next. A pantser writes by the seat of her pants. And so we know generally where we're going. Judy and I write the same. We know generally where we're going, but we really develop our characters first and then just kind of see where they take us. We've talked before, and that's half the fun. We get up in the morning, we grab our cup of coffee, and while you guys go off to your law firms and your CPA firms and your schools, we go into our offices with our cup of coffee and we delve into our novel and we start saying, what is this character going to do today? And if I knew that already, it would take the fun out of it.
Yeah. And these characters are always in my head.
Yeah.
I can lie in bed in the morning and think, okay, where could I take them today? And so on. And my husband.
They surprise you?
Yeah, they do. They can surprise me. And once in a while, I say, oh, well, that's terrific. And another time I might say, oh, I don't think we should do that. But yeah.
Yeah. There's this thing that writers say about the movie playing in their head. And when you're in that place where this world stops and this world is where you're at, it's just like reading. When you're so immersed in that novel that you are the protagonist. And as a writer, if you write it really well, that's what happens for your reader. They are able to leave their world and sink into a whole nother world and experience it. Not just read about it, but actually they become that character. Well, that happens for us too. We become those characters. And one of the strangest things, and I know, you know, some authors have said things like this before, but I remember when Houston flooded a couple of years ago, I had a book set in Houston called A Reason to Stay. And the characters in there became very dear to my heart. And when Houston flooded, the first thing I thought was, oh no, I need to pray for, no, oh, wait, they're pretend. I mean, in my head, they were real, you know, and just for a split second, I'd forgotten that they were not real people. And
it's interesting. I think Peter finally understands we could be sitting in the living room talking and I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I'll be right back, because an idea has come to my mind, and I have to run in and write it down or make a note or whatever. And he's
Yeah.
used to it, but
Yeah.
that's
Or
the
I'll be writing in my office and Alan will come in to ask a question and I'll simply do this. And he knows that that means movies playing, don't interrupt. You know, because once it stops, it stops. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can get back in the movie, but it takes a little effort to get back into it. And you don't want to stop that flow, you know, the discussions, the conversations, you know, you close your eyes and you see and you smell and you have to put that on the page. And you
Exactly.
yourself. Yeah. And you do that so beautifully, Judy. I am
Oh,
such a
thank
fan
you.
of your books. I hope all of you readers have enjoyed meeting Judith tonight. I adore this woman. We met and we instantly connected, more than the fact that we just, you know, are from Boise, but I adore her books and I know that you will too. Judy, why don't you tell them you've got a little surprise giveaway tonight?
Well, I thought it would be fun, actually, to give away Going Home, which is the first book in the Willamette Valley series. And then I'm very happy to give away a first book in the Breakfast at the Beach House Hotel series.
So
two prizes.
Mhm.
And I hope that sets you off on a journey.
Now, will these be print books or ebooks?
Ebooks.
Yeah. From
With
Amazon?
the pandemic, that's so much easier for both me and the reader.
Yeah. So the way that'll work, everyone, is what they'll put a comment, anyone who has commented. And Judy and I can't see your questions and comments, but when we end this broadcast, we're going to go look and Judith will answer all of your questions. So if you've posted at all tonight, you are entered to win one of her books.
And you have a few minutes to post.
Yeah.
We'll give you a few minutes to post it.
You bet. And so then what'll happen is when the winners are selected, she will gift you a book through Amazon, an Amazon Kindle book. Is that right?
It is.
Okay.
And I would need your email address.
Yeah, to send that. And so you guys can talk, you know, on a private message or something to get that to her. But I've sure enjoyed having you here. Thank you for coming and spending this hour with us. And for everyone who's been here with us tonight, thank you so much. Before we leave, I want to tell you something else that we've got cooking up. This has just been kind of my brainchild, this She's Reading with Kelly Coates Gilbert. And the reason I started it is because so often people would contact me. I mean, I get emails from readers all the time, you know, as well as you probably do too, Judy. But I am often asked, who writes like you? I love your books. I love the women's fiction. I love the small towns. I love the emotion and the romantic threads. You know, who writes like you? And so I thought, well, this would be my opportunity to take the people who I know write like me and introduce them to you if you haven't already met them, so that you can enjoy some more books like what I love to write and read. And so that's why we have She's Reading with Kelly Coates Gilbert. And so I'll be doing that over the next weeks, bringing you lots of authors. But on Sunday is my birthday. And so I'm going to have a birthday book bash. And so a whole bunch of my author buddies are going to join me in celebrating my birthday here online. And so all you have to do is on Sunday, calendar it. And at 3 o'clock, we're going to start posting. We're not going to do a live, but we're going to start posting in She's Reading. And we have eight different authors. Here's the author lineup. I will start the party at 3 o'clock and welcome everyone. And then Judith is going to be there and post about her books with giveaways. Amy Talley, oh, you are in for a treat. Her new book is so good. I will tell you just a little bit about it. It's about two women who were best friends and they had a falling out and they hate each other. And their two children get engaged and they have to plan a wedding together.
Oh, so, nice.
It's really good. It's really good. So Amy will be here with us. Betty Lee Crosby, which is a friend of Judith and mine. We knew her from Blue Sky Book Chat. She writes these gorgeous, almost literary, you know, luscious, beautiful books. And she's going to be here giving some things away. Heather Birch, who is one of the Amazon #1 bestsellers. Ev Bishop is going to be here. She's my a new friend to me, and she's part of that Christmas story group. Ev's going to bring and show you some of what she writes and do a giveaway. Tess Thompson was here last week. She's going to be part of that giving away. And then Tammy Grace. Oh my goodness. Tammy Grace writes like Debbie Maycumber. She just writes these gentle, sweet, wholesome stories with dogs and towns. And if you like the Mitford series, you'll love Tammy Grace. And then I'll end the party at 5 o'clock. So if you have nothing else going on, and even if you do, you won't want to miss Sunday afternoon, Kelly's birthday book bash with all my good friends.
Perfect, Kelly. It's perfect.
Yes, it is. We're going to have so much fun. So you'll want to be here, and you'll want to participate and comment and have all those opportunities to win books and other things. I don't even know what all these authors are doing on their little time slots. They come up with things that I would never dream of. But anyway, you won't want to miss it. I promise you that. And so again, I'll thank Judy for being here, and I thank you all for being here, and we'll see you in the comments, and we'll answer all your questions, and we'll see you on Sunday for Kelly's birthday book bash.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here, everyone. Take care. Good night.
Night.